The results are in. Congratulations to Hungrybox.
Thank you very much.
You just lost a gig, but you gained some serious rep. Thanks, Hungry.
Yes, I did. And Reggie, for being the president of Nintendo, you suck.
Whoa. Look. Oh.
Hey guys, it's once again Hbox here with a continuation on what seems to be a Nintendo Smash drama that's unfolding now with a lot of new developments coming into play. In this case, I wanted to focus specifically on the PM community with the testimonials of a few of the members of that community who are integral to the scene. There is a poster here on Twitter, Literal Grill, Clown Churong, saying, "Hello, my name is Linnea Caps, previously known as Smash Caps online. Smash Caps read the tweet longer that was aforementioned in my previous video, sort of outlining the times that Nintendo has sort of gone out of their way to prevent the Smash community from having large-scale esports events. And now Smash Caps from the PM scene is saying their sort of experience in it. They have audio evidence discussing what began the death of Project M, which was Apex 2015. I did an unreleased interview with Alex Strife after he left the scene due to all of his rotten behaviors. And if you don't know already, Alex Strife was accused of many bad things, awful things akin to the cancellations which occurred in July. You know, as bad as you can think. I might want to list them, but a toxic member of the scene for sure. He was never denied what he did during this interview, but he did discuss why PM was removed from Apex. We didn't release it on Smash back then because the community would have exploded at this news. Plus, let's be fair, we didn't want to give Alex a platform at the time. With the backstory out of the way, let's get down to the dirty details. Twitch brought down pressure hard to remove PM from the tournament. Nintendo itself never made requests at the time for this. It all came from Twitch. So it's funny because it sort of matches with what's being said with the other document, because they said there never was a cease and desist, and this of course corroborates with that. This makes sense. At the time they were trying to arrange a circuit with Nintendo, so Twitch wanted to play well by Nintendo's rules, and Twitch felt it on their on their shoulders to be the one to throw the hammer down, saying don't do this. Twitch wanted to look good for Nintendo and not blow a huge opportunity. Strife was promised with this removal there will be an official statement from Twitch on the matter to help him avoid harassment when it was removed. And this never came to pass, likely due to pressure from Nintendo in the background. Alex isn't exactly a great guy, but he didn't deserve to be thrown under the bus, ran over, and then backed over again just so Twitch and Nintendo didn't look like the bad guys. So in other words, regardless of Alex's history, for this situation specifically, they didn't want to have all the, I guess, pressure and strain and the potential death of a scene placed on one person, which is understandable. Of course, after the truth about Alex came to light, he had no power to do a damn thing about this. Again, not a good person, don't care for him, hate what he did, but he was now just fodder, so Nintendo and Twitch never have to take any responsibility. Now for the bombshell. Remember how people always wondered if money exchanged hands to stop PM from being streamed? Alex confirmed that this did happen. At a minimum, for my own digging back then, offers were made at a bare minimum. I'm not saying your favorite streamer took money to stop streaming PM. To what I understand, a few streamers did specifically try and get Twitch to pay them money. I cannot prove those streamers were paid. And I will let you know right now, I myself was not one of these streamers. I in no way received any money from Twitch to not stream PM. What I do remember is I was highly suggested to not stream PM. Instead of being offered money, it was sort of the idea that, hey, Juan, if you do this, your channel could be terminated. That's what I remember. It was a long time ago, and I forget who from Twitch told me that, but I remember it was a very hush-hush thing. I believe PM was streamed under Twitch under the category Moon for a while to sort of keep it really under wraps. And at the time, I believe I was invited to the Smash 4 Invitational, and I was told that because of that, it would be a very bad look for me, or it would lower my chances of being invited to that Smash 4 Invitational if I was to publicly play PM on stream. That I do remember. I have these streamers' names. I won't release them. If someone has proof money switched hands, DM me in confirmed evidence and I'll share. I don't want to risk a dog pill right now just in case. The community needs solidarity right now. Now, I can and will discuss how money did exchange hands, or at least was assumed to or supposed to. Weird how when a company is trying to schedule a circuit with Nintendo and it suddenly vanishes into thin air, how promises aren't kept. With the information I have found today, I'd like to submit that Nintendo was directly pressuring Twitch to make these kinds of offers because they had the sway to maybe host a future event. These streamers could have been the ones working these events. Of course, they tried to take on this life-changing opportunity. They all were duped and misled. At this point, you then had to go with the coercion of your future career was dead. If they did get directly paid, I can't even blame them. This is kind of wild. It's like, if this person is saying it and they're speaking their truth, it's not blackmail. It's like a reverse blackmail, kind of. Like, if you don't do this, you do get money for it. But at the same time, if you did do it because you were playing against the rules legally, you still could lose your career. So again, they were flirting with this big gray area that most players couldn't do much about in the first place. You might not all remember, but Hitbox TV was a thing back then. They dove on the chance to take on PM and be its home for streaming. They hired someone specifically to work with the Smash community. I was their liaison to get Smash-related news out for events that were supposed to be coming through Hitbox. Hitbox itself wanted to sponsor the Smash community and some of its players. It was going to be a big boon for the scene in need of cash to run big events. And I remember, of course, watching a lot of cool events on Hitbox. I think one of the bigger bouts was on it. And even though the platform wasn't as clean as Twitch, it was still really cool. Like, you went to Hitbox to stream or watch PM. It became sort of the hub for the game, and it saved it for a while. All of which was began to massively dissolve out of nowhere. That coordinator was suddenly fired, PM quietly removed in places on the site, and the scene suffered massively for it. It was a huge sacrifice to try and hope Nintendo might work with them to run an event. Not just Hitbox, but Twitch, Red Bull, all of them. So many companies trying so hard, and it seems that Linear Caps was trying to facilitate with Dr. Pepper at one point about jumping on a Smash event. Now I know who chased them away. So basically, even big names like Dr. Pepper were willing to put money into PM, into a modded game. Nintendo treats Smash like crap. I must now wonder if the job I was up for with them was denied after they saw how involved I was with the scene. I had some big names at the company on my resume, got some interviews, got denied anyway. TLDR. Nintendo lied to companies and streamers and coerced them into dropping stream support of games, PM especially, and then didn't even keep up on their promises of support. They let average players and streamers take all the hatred that should have been on their doorstep. I might not be big on Smash anymore, but part of why I left the community as a reporter was because it became obvious no matter what I did as a reporter, there was no upward mobility. Realizing the company that made the game itself had a direct hand in this angers me to my core. These players have fought bravely, used every ounce what they could, did everything right. Nintendo spits on their faces and laughs at their efforts. Don't let them hear the end of it. They'll kill your game next. Hashtag save Smash. And of course, you know, they could go into more details on old audio logs. They want Smash influencers, YouTubers, video reporters to get the voice out there. And of course wants to freelance write about it. So this is just a huge, you know, glaring smoking gun that seems to corroborate with everything we've already read. But this right here, on top of everything I heard, if the part where Nintendo was paying streamers money or coercing Twitch to pay streamers money to not stream PM, it seems like one of those things that was supposed to be very hush-hush under the table, sort of like, we know we can't legally ask you to do it, but if you do us a favor, we'll be doing you a favor. And this could have all been avoided if there was simply more transparency and more discussion as to what Nintendo would consider, you know, going against the legal rights of their game. If you get the game itself, the ISO, and you rip it legally and it's yours, and you put it through an emulator that then modifies the skins or whatever it does, gives it online capabilities, at what point is it considered piracy and this and that? I feel like this whole situation and all the situations that followed, and I'm sure more which you're going to read coming off in the next few weeks, are all because of this gray area. We can't have that be the case anymore. With a modern esports scene needing to modify games in order to keep up with the certain times, not just with, you know, online capabilities, but I don't know, a pandemic in the midst, you know, things have to change. We need to have new legislature and new rules to govern what is and isn't morally correct for a company when it comes to players who want to not only enjoy the product, but also pay for it. There's people who would pay good money for modified versions of game. They would pay good money for skins. They would pay great money for great online and rollback capabilities. Nintendo just has to have a new eye on it, I feel. And because of that, all the other companies in the mix, that includes Twitch or Red Bull or, you know, Dr. Pep, whatever company wanted to be part of it, they all get thrown into the mix. Mud gets smeared on them too. It becomes a mess for everyone. So you can see how this snowballs into an absolute shitstorm. And for the PM community, I can only imagine the heartbreak the devs and the members of the audience or the members of the community had in knowing their game, no matter what they did, right or wrong, could not survive in that environment. And finally, I have a statement from Chia. Chia is actually the editor and the manager of this YouTube channel, and I felt it right to have her speak her piece about this matter, considering how much she was involved as the founder of Clash Tournaments and, of course, as one of the main constituents of people who was helping the PM scene grow. I haven't really had the opportunity to speak on everything going on this past week, and I've been waiting to find the right words. I wasn't sure if I was going to post a video on what Melee and Smash means to me, but I've been recovering from surgery from home. An interesting post dropped by this morning from Linea Caps, that's the one I just read to you, and it gave me the strength on a related topic to speak out on something I've had to hide. Nearly everything in the post is correct. The only thing that seemed off was that it made it seem very protecting of Alex Strife in a way where in actuality behind the scenes, he was elated that he was positioned to be the first person to truly bring Nintendo into Smash and ready to drop PM in a heartbeat for that. Moving on, however, in the post, you see a lot of interesting discussion about Twitch and their involvement in this. So basically, Alex Strife seemed to have pride and wanted to be the guy, be like, yeah, I'm bringing Nintendo in. I'll take the fall for PM if it means I'm Mr. Nintendo for this scene. And that's what this seems to say. This is true. I can confirm this firsthand. Did Nintendo fuel this? I am almost certain that's true, but I technically don't have proof. In March of 2015, 2 months after Apex 2015, I streamed a tournament called Shots Fired. It was a PM National. I streamed it on Twitch. It was the last PM tournament I streamed to Twitch on Clash Tournament. Why? I was forced. Again, so many of these people had no option here. I was aware of everything going on behind the scenes with Apex 2015, Nintendo, and Twitch, but thankfully was never in any forced situation to drop PM because I was no longer on the staff as of weeks before the event for issues I won't get into here. Because of this, I could keep supporting PM. I had some big events and Shotfire was huge. I received a message and thus a call from a Twitch employee right after event. It might have happened before, maybe after, but it doesn't change this. I was told that Shots Fired would be the last PM tournament I could stream on Twitch. They were readying the removal of PM from the platform, and I'm sure you can guess where this pressure came from. It didn't seem like Twitch wanted to do this, but they were still here talking to me. So, in the case of Chia, Twitch seemed to be the messenger in this case one more time as to what Nintendo was pressuring on. Twitch went from top to bottom, removing it from the largest stream since that is how the damage and influence would be done. And I was second in line. They essentially let each of the streamers get one last big event by their standards, and Shot Fired was mine. After that, I was told I could no longer stream PM on Clash Tournaments through Twitch. I tried to deny and push back. They said I would lose my partnership if I did. Again, they couldn't blackmail, but they could say, you go against the law, you'll lose your channel. They told me I was not allowed to say that Twitch told me this and that I had to lie. Whoa! They told me I was not allowed to say that Twitch told me this and that I had to lie. I don't know what the fuck is going on now. You want to talk legality? You can't say that shit. I pushed back and I said that isn't fair. They said that what I'm saying right now, that they forced me to do this, I would lose my partnership. They suggested that's some alternative thing to say, to lie about the situation, to lessen the blow. I refused to not tell the truth and never made such lies. Again, why is this situation even being put in the first place? Is it Twitch trying to appease Nintendo? Is it Twitch trying to appease to the law? Or is it Nintendo secretly behind the scenes forcing everyone to do this? And so I had to stop streaming the title. I could not say why. Others tried to make up lies to save face, but I refused to do so. I couldn't not comply because my channel could be taken from me out of fear tactics when it was essential reasons to my life as a content creator and pro team owner at the time, which, by the way, I was part of Clash Tournaments. Shoutouts to Chia, one of my first ever sponsors. Could I have fought it? Possibly. I didn't have any special NDAs signed with Twitch, and my partner contract with Twitch is one of the oldest there was since I was partnered back in 2013, and thus like certain verbiage coming today, but I couldn't risk it. So Chia, with Clash Tournaments, not a gigantic channel, if this is your source of income, you want to play by the rules. You don't want to lose one of your only sources of income over this issue which involves something which is bigger than you, which you have no control over, and thus can't fight. But you're seeing the way they approached it, and that's what bothers me the most. To end this tweet longer, I was then told by Twitch they were trying to make the situation easier on the content creators that depended on PM. I was told to gather analytics of roughly how much money I made on loosely to PM, the relates and Twitch and YouTube in the previous X months, and then they would continue to pay me such funds for a little bit. So they tried to amend things by providing Chia with money that would have been otherwise gained and lost. It seemed that they were trying to make things better on their own end or behind the scenes to make everyone happy. I got this information. They then ghosted me and never gave me anything. It's still just crazy. How many lost promises were there in the past 5 years? It honestly wasn't that much, to be honest, since I was centered around Variety Smash and Brawl was my biggest. And that's it, except unlike many others, I didn't stop supporting PM. I looked for every loophole to comply with every promise with the continuity to go. Many people remember where I streamed a tournament called Summit in Canada. I streamed it on Twitch to a channel called Project M Central instead, while I used CT in the other room for Melee. I streamed PM on YouTube constantly so I could use my sub base to keep views big for the title. I was briefly on the development team as far back as Brawl Plus and an aspiring game developer myself. I refuse to see it go down like how people tried to make it. And I do remember Chia, of course, did play Rob back in the day. Was a competitor, placed pretty well in a lot of the tournaments. And Chia was forced to drop it. She was forced to lie. This is all over 5 years though, and my hold on Twitch content today is a shell of what it used to be, so I don't feel scared saying this now. Besides, I know this entire community is here to support each other. I only want things to be right. I want support for our titles, our content creators, our staff members, and our players. I love 64, Melee, Brawl, PM, Smash 4 Ultimate. Smash is awesome. We're the lifeblood of all this, and don't forget it. Please let us continue to show this passion to the world, and please watch the PM documentary. It's going to be amazing. So there's a Melee documentary and a PM documentary both coming out. My thoughts on all this, now that I've once again summarized this, is I think this is gaining so much traction now because the Melee scene is finally experiencing sort of the, I want to say, unjustness of what the PM scene went through. But I'll make these videos as much as I have to, and it'll all always trickle back down to the exact same issue. There needs to be a stance made. There needs to be verbiage. There needs to be some sort of change, some sort of pure, permanent marker drawn down the line, not just for now, but for all future situations, on situations regarding this. All right? I get that PM was a modification of the game, and I will say a heavier way. You changed the physics of the game, you added new characters, you changed the skins, a lot of stuff which makes people and holders of IP very upset. I get that. And in Melee's case, the physics weren't changed, the skins weren't changed, the characters weren't changed. Melee, we changed UCF, right? So we added a controller pulling fix error, which was actually an error on a programming part by Nintendo from a while ago, because, you know, it's not something you considered a while ago, to make the gameplay experience better. Again, takes away nothing from the IP of the game. And then, oh look, we added online capabilities to make it so that we could play against each other at a distance where 10 people aren't allowed to be in the same goddamn room. All right? How are these I'm sorry, I'm flustered. You know? I'm flustered because you want me to tell you the truth? There's only one Smash title that's truly dead. Truly dead. And that's actually Smash 4. Ultimate, obviously alive. Melee, obviously alive through Slippy in tournaments. Brawl is alive through PM. PM requires a Brawl file. It is Brawl that's being played and celebrated with a scene. It's just enhanced and updated to make the game a much more passionate experience, akin to what the Melee community, you know, brought to itself. And I, as a member previously of the PM community, used to travel to PM Nationals all the time. What the work that the developers did, that the mods did, you know, all the while Nintendo was focusing on Smash 4, by the way. Brawl was this abandoned at that point. I think even the Brawl servers went down, right, at some point. Here's the point. We're taking the games that are abandoned. We're taking the old technology that seems obsolete, thrown into the dumpster, digging it up through the dumpster, finding the treasure inside of it, and repurposing it. What the development community for PM did to Brawl, and what Fizzy did for Slippy and the rest of the community did for Melee, isn't this illegal, horrible scheme of being criminals and trying to take advantage of someone else's design. We're showing the defined appreciation, the love and admiration we have for the title by restoring them to the modern age. It's the same way you take one of those old vintage soda machines you see on like Pawn Stars or Storage Wars. You take it to someone, he fixes it up, gives it a good new paint job, fixes the wiring inside of it, makes it nice so it fits in the modern era, and then everyone can enjoy it again instead of it being tossed into the garbage like it never existed. Let people enjoy things, and the people will love you in return. And Nintendo, if you let people enjoy things, you'll make a lot of money. And if that's the point of the world, if that's the point of corporations, if good PR is simply to make money and that's the way the world works, then good. I'm giving you advice on how to make more money. Keep your fans happy. Make the changes necessary, and don't make us go through the trauma of working with tireless man hours. So much collaborative effort, so much sweat and tears put into making something happen, only to have it ripped away from an outdated tradition, from an outdated rule, which in this case shouldn't exist anymore. We're in 2020. We're no longer in the 90s. We're no longer in the early 2000s. Times have changed, so why don't you change as well for once? And PM community, I'm sorry about this. This is injustice to the highest degree. Hashtag save Smash. Hashtag free Melee. Do not stop being heard. Thank you.